Good morning. One of the regular questions that I get asked is, how do I start a business, or rather, what do I do from a legal perspective to start a business? What are the steps I need to take? And people are most concerned when they ask me this question with the legal or regulatory steps they may need to take. What is the bureaucratic stuff involved, and what legal steps, as I say, people need to take before they start a business. Good news is that it's not too difficult in Ireland from a legal perspective to start a business or start up your own enterprise. And first thing though you need to do, and there's a couple of basic steps you will need to consider. One is the structure you're going to set up or trade under in the first instance. There's essentially three ways you can trade or carry on your business, even if you're doing it on a part-time basis, and even if you're sticking on with your existing job and you intend perhaps even working from home at the beginning. Structure, three ways to do it: sole trader, partnership, or limited liability company. Now, if you're a sole trader, you are liable for any debts arising from your activities, so you don't have any limitation on your liability. You're completely open, as it were, to any debts arising. Now, that may not be very significant if you start off in a very, very small way in the first instance, but it is something to bear in mind that you don't have the benefit of a limited liability situation, which comes with a limited liability company. A limited liability company then, on the other hand, you could set up a company and trade away, and you have the benefit of being a separate legal entity, and you have limited liability. In other words, if the business goes bad, if it goes wrong, goes into liquidation, goes bust, then the liability is limited to the amount of the paid up share capital. In other words, you personally, unless you've given personal guarantees, are not going to be on the hook for the debts of the company, because the company, remember, is a separate legal entity, and it's not actually you that owes the money then in that situation, it's the company. So that's the first thing: structure, sole trader, partnership, or limited company. The second thing you're going to need to do is register with the revenue commissioners for taxation purposes. So you're going to be paying tax either, if you're a limited liability company, you're going to be paying corporation tax at the corporation tax rate. And if you're going to be trading as a sole trader or as a partner, you're going to be paying tax on a self-assessment basis. But in any event, you will need to register with the revenue commissioners for taxation purposes. You'll also need to consider the VAT situation. Do you need to register for VAT? And you'll also need to consider whether you need to register as an employer. Now, these things can be sorted out very, very easily by your accountant. You should have an accountant to give you a hand with this type of thing. You can set up a limited company handy enough. There's plenty of company formation agents and services out there. Simply do a Google search or go to any solicitor and they'll be able to help you. And you can actually buy a company off the shelf, as it were. Another thing that you might consider is the domain name that you're going to use in your business. If you have a website, and I'd strongly recommend it, I would strongly recommend a country code TLD, that's top level domain. So that's a .ie domain. And in Ireland, the body that looks after that is the IEDR.ie. So go there and have a look and see what name you want to register as a domain name, and register your domain name then as a .ie. You will need to fill out a form and give some reason as to why you're entitled to that particular domain name. But I would, if you're an Irish business, certainly ensure that you get a .ie, because you will rank better in the search engines. Another thing you need to consider is getting some advice from professional advisors. You should also consider going to the local enterprise offices, however, and I think there's a local enterprise office in each county. They have a lot of resources, a lot of help, a lot of assistance, and they'll give you good guidance and good information in relation to finance and so on and so forth. So from a legal or regulatory perspective, that's really all you need to do. You can start trading then from an office like this office here, for example. You can start trading obviously from a shop unit if you take on a lease or a license, or you can even start trading from home, particularly if you are setting up some sort of an online business that might be run or operated from home. And you may be looking to spread your risk and restrict your risk at the first in the early days by maybe staying on in your job and firstly running the business as a part-time operation. That's a decision for yourself. There's two other things, however, I would advise you of. Number one is to beware of spoofers. In other words, there will be people who will spring up and who will offer their services, their expert services, in particular areas of activity. For example, digital marketing or social media marketing. You need to have your wits about you. Anybody can claim to be an expert in anything, but you need to be careful that you're actually getting true expertise from somebody who is offering you some sort of a service, whether it's web design, whether it's SEO, that's search engine optimization, whether it's online or digital marketing, whether it's social media marketing, whether it's email marketing, whatever it is. Just make sure that they are actually expert. As I say, it's easy to claim that you're expert, and those industries are particularly easy to move in and move out of and claim expertise. So beware of spoofers and charlatans. There's a lot of them out there. There's people who genuinely know what they're doing. There's people who practice it and carry it out and execute plans and strategies on a daily basis and build their business on the basis of their ability to market themselves and their business online. And there's other people who don't, who talk a good game, but in fact have no experience of actually getting down there and down and dirty with the likes of Facebook advertising, YouTube development, brand building, Instagram, social media marketing, generally email marketing, and so on. So as I say, beware the spoofers. Second thing I would, or second tip I'd give you is do work that matters. What I mean by that is, when you're starting your business, you're going to need to generate customers and clients, and you're going to need to generate revenue. Cash is king. They say that in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. Oh, well, in business, cash is king. And you need to generate customers and you need to generate clients. But to go back to my second tip, do work that matters. What I mean by that is, don't get carried away or distracted by looking at stuff like metrics that don't matter. In other words, likes and shares and nominations for awards, especially if they're making up awards and so on, don't amount to a hill of beans if you're not generating clients, generating customers, generating revenue. That's how you grow your business. So be very, very intentional and be very discerning about doing work that matters and work that looks good, but is basically shallow and ephemeral and will not really help you to build your business. I hope you find this video useful. If you do, you might give it a thumbs up down below, and thank you for your attention. Thank you for your support on my YouTube channel as well.